Welcome to Heaping Spoonful, a twice-monthly conversation with restaurateurs, chefs, growers, and others who have helped generate the legends associated with eateries across the Mid-South. The team at Benny Keith is proud to sponsor this adventure with the goal of preserving the stories that have helped cultivate an amazing food scene across the Mid-South. So kick back and enjoy a Heaping Spoonful.
Hello, all you food fans out there. Welcome to another episode of Heaping Spoonful. This is actually our 45th episode, so time flies when you're having fun or you're talking about food. I'm Kelly Bass, and I really love talking to so many great chefs and restaurateurs across the Mid-South as we recorded these podcasts, so thanks to Benny Keith Foods for giving me that opportunity. I have learned that talking about food is much more enjoyable than writing about it, which I did for more than 30 years as a restaurant reviewer for 2 Little Rock newspapers and a couple of local magazines. Today, our guest is Lisa Zhang, owner and chef of Threefold Noodle and Dumpling Company, a favorite spot for so many people, and it's in downtown Little Rock, Arkansas. So welcome to Heaping Spoonful, Lisa.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm glad to be here and also have an opportunity to share some Chinese food tradition with everybody.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
As we know, our friend Rusty Mathis here at Benny Keith just took some folks to lunch at your place today. So it's fresh on his mind and fresh in his stomach. So you're Chinese and you moved to Arkansas in 1999 when your husband accepted a job at the National Center for Toxicological Research, which is near Pine Bluff, Arkansas. As I understand it, you'd been in academia working to help researchers monetize the products and concepts that came out of what they had researched. And when you moved to Little Rock, I'm sure at that point you had no idea you'd ever own or operate a restaurant.
You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
And I have the job in China for 12 years old. And it's complete different field than restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially have a restaurant in the United States.
Yeah, which is also very different, I'm sure, than having one there. So I know that you couldn't really find a suitable job in Central Arkansas, and you said that was somewhat because your English was very limited at that point in time. And you moved to Dallas to work for a trading company that's owned by a Taiwanese family. But again, a trading company, nothing to do with restaurants. And you did well there. So tell us about that phase in your career. What were you doing in that job?
Actually, I just found a job. They call trading company. That they produce a display and a fixture for the retail store.
Okay.
Like if you went to the jewelry store, we made everything but the jewelry.
Yeah. So the counters, the countertops, the show display cases, all of that.
Yeah, they have a manufacturer in China, so they need bilingual people.
Right.
That's what I have opportunity to have that job. And for 8 years, that's the only job I have in the United States, other than this restaurant business.
Yeah. But am I right that you went to culinary school when you lived in Dallas?
Yeah, but actually after 8 years working there, and I start from the coordinator to help translate the requirement of design and be promoted to be the director of the department, and then later on to be a VP of manufacturing.
Right.
So, and then that's 8 years. I'm very grateful to have that job. But inside of me, I always want to do something in the food industry to truly introduce the authentic Chinese food in the society, no matter in Dallas or somewhere else. That's what. But I never know how the Americans run their restaurant, especially the kitchen.
Sure.
Behind the door, how that looks like and the equipment. That's the purpose. I spend an arm and leg to go to the culinary school at Dallas, the Art Institute, and to learn some fundamental
Sanitation, right.
And the food safety.
Sure.
And American regional food.
Right. And so so you learned a lot about not just the food itself, but how to operate in a restaurant.
Right.
Yeah. But I'd seen that you had cooked when you were younger. I mean, I guess we all have cooked some, but you cooked as a child and maybe even made dumplings?
No, actually, I helped my parents.
Oh, you helped your parents?
Yeah, it's a very traditional. Kids help. Kids always want to help here and there, especially when placed with dumpling.
Yeah.
So that's a way we grow up.
Right. So I've again, you've talked about your goal with Threefold, and you just mentioned it was to introduce Arkansans to the Chinese culinary culture and to other types of Chinese food because. As you know, I mean, you could talk to anybody in Little Rock, Arkansas, and they start talking about Chinese food. They're going to talk about egg rolls and, hot and sour soup and mugu gai pan, and that's not what you serve.
Yeah, and I have to say it's amazing when we immigrate to the United States, and I went to Chinese restaurant, and it's amazing to see a lot of Chinese authentic food has been altered.
Yes.
It's modified in the way to suit your taste.
Sure.
And it's amazing, don't take me wrong. It's amazing they have the ability, but however, I just feel something missing in this direction. Means some of miss the best part of Chinese cooking. So that's something I always want to do,
right.
But to bring the authentic, the good part of the authentic way of cooking or way of serving, back to the United States. At least give a chance to know what it is originated.
And I think that as time has gone on and people have expanded their taste horizons, that there's probably more people who are eager to have food that is really authentic and not what has been doctored or altered to suit our tastes. I mean, ask anyone from Mexico when they walk into a Mexican restaurant in Arkansas if what they see on the menu represents what they would see in Mexico City, and the answer is no. Not a lot of cheese dip in Mexico City.
Right. It's more fresh ingredient.
Oh, sure.
I understand it.
And the menu at Threefold, again, we know we have listeners all around, and so some live in Arkansas and have been able to go to Threefold. But just to explain it, it's pretty straightforward and it's really focused. I mean, you do noodles, dumplings, and steamed buns, and you serve in a bowl. And then the noodles and dumplings, which is the way I usually get them, in soup. And you have salad, and you have a few other little sides, but those are the main things. And you have a choice of protein, which I believe is chicken, pork, and tofu. Mm-hmm. And that formula, again, did you just from the beginning go, I want to do these things I know that we can do really well and focus on that, and it's worked well for you?
Actually, yes, a lot of customers in the beginning when we opened this concept, and then they said, their menu very limited. It's just 3 things. Actually, like a dumpling and noodle in China, the authentic way, when you have dumpling, you go to dumpling shop. You only have a dumpling.
Right.
But you have variety of protein and vegetable in the dumpling.
Right.
And then when you eat a noodle, then you go to noodle shop. So I already combined 3 different concepts in one.
Yeah.
So that's a lot. And I even calculate even 3 things we develop totally 42 items. I think
by all the ways you can put it together.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a tons of work, so we can keep the quality.
Right.
It's a lot.
I know it's labor intensive too.
Right.
These are not easily made items, and so those who know the Threefold story know that you started at 2nd and Center Streets in downtown Little Rock, and later moved to a much larger and beautiful space with a much larger kitchen and an open kitchen on Main Street between 6th and 7th. So I know the answer to this, but please tell our Heaping Spoonful listeners what it was that made you want to leave your location on East 2nd Street and move to 6th Street.
I think I talked to a couple of people about this, but I don't know how many people know the true reason is not we want to do bigger business. There's one reason make me to move is because in the Center Street, when we take over the Center Street place, it's your mom's good food.
Right.
It's southern food. They cook with a brazier and deep fryer, and serve you with the warmer and cooler as a cafeteria style.
Right.
And by that time, we have very limited money. We put much money on the wall and the floor in white.
Right.
And then But by that time, I forced myself to try to use your American kitchen equipment to cook this traditional Chinese dumpling and noodle, and with the little pasta machine to do the noodle and dumpling.
Right.
And then, we did very well at Central Street, and the customer really accepted it, received it very well. But the inside of me, I still I'm not happy with the dumpling, because the dumpling texture keep on changing every minute.
Right.
So the tradition, if I boil the dumpling, not pan fry, boil the dumpling, I want you serve you right way, if you can handle the heat. Mm-hmm. Or set a little bit to cool down, but not sit on the warmer for 30 minutes. So and then I realized that the traditional dumpling or noodle has to go back to the traditional way of cooking. That's a complete reason that I moved.
Yeah, and which makes perfect sense, because we've all been to buffets of whatever sort, and the quality goes down pretty quickly once it's been in the warming tray. But something like a dumpling where the texture is so important.
Yeah.
That I know it was just like, you're like, people like them. I know they're pretty good. They could be better.
Yeah.
And
even nobody recognized. A lot of people recognize the difference. But as a chef, you know it.
Sure.
So.
And then once they got to 6th Street, they're like, ooh, wow. Because at 6th Street, you have that big, again, you can cook to order and.
Right, they come out. We control the timing and not sitting the steamer. So then.
And I tell you, too, that you mentioned earlier that you all had put quite a bit of money into redoing the floor and the wall in the 2nd Street. It's so stunningly beautiful and bright in the 6th Street. I guess clearly you all designed how you wanted it to look, but it's white and clean and crisp and well lit, and it's just a place that you want to be, and it just seems like a good, clean place to eat good food.
Yeah, we have an internal designer, another very talented young lady, and she tried to, because in downtown it's a historical building.
All right.
So the goal, we try to match the historical. So we use a lot of tile and try to make that place to be clean, or comfortable lighting with the food.
Right.
Enjoy.
Well, it's you have a very good interior designer and decorator. She did great. Yeah. And I know that I was told that 3-fold is how many folds it takes to assemble a dumpling, so 3-fold became the name of your restaurant, which I think is cool. Now, I've been told that you created the food because you are the chef as well as the owner without using recipes. Is that true? You just go by taste?
Actually, the accuracy, we should say now without recipe, without measurement.
Oh, without,
okay. Like you have to put 1 spoon.
Teaspoon, right.
Yeah. So that's what is a little bit hard for me to teaching American worker to handle the detail of the taste of the feeling. Because as a Chinese, we grew up it. So our tongue can tell if it's right. If they really follow the measurement, it could be very bad.
Yeah.
So the true, what I try to say without recipe is without measurement.
I see. Yeah.
And if you screw up, you still need to find a way to make it back.
Right.
So the recipe for me is just a guide.
Right.
It cannot be like a formula.
Exactly. Well, before we started recording, you told me that clearly other people are capable of creating the great food at 3-fold because they're doing it right now while you're here recording our episode. And it is a little after 2, so maybe business has slowed down a little bit. But you also said that when you go in to see how things are going, you taste what they cook. That way you know how they're doing because you make sure it tastes right.
Yeah, that's you probably ask me another question, how many steps to make a dumpling, because I think that's my knowledge to know where they screw up.
Right.
On what step, like the filling is wrong, or the dough is wrong, or the cook time is wrong. So by eating one piece of dumpling, I can tell. Yeah,
because I did see that you had talked with, I got this out of Arkansas Times, and it says, she has counted and determined that one dumpling includes 24 ingredients and takes 21 steps to finish. And you said that really represents the delicacy of Chinese cooking. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And normally people couldn't recognize that much labor we put in. But, the good food really costs the time and the detail of attention
Sure.
to make a...
All right. Well, listen, everybody, we are going to take a short break here on Heaping Spoonful. We'll be back in just a minute with Lisa Zhang of Threefold Noodles and Dumpling Company in downtown Little Rock.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Heaping Spoonful. We at Benny Keith Foods enjoy talking about the food scene almost as much as we enjoy providing the top quality ingredients that help restaurateurs and chefs across the Mid-South create their magic. Now let's dive even deeper into the culinary world with your host, Kelly Bass.
Welcome back to Heaping Spoonful. Our guest today is Lisa Zhang of Threefold Noodles and Dumpling Company, a fabulous restaurant, very popular in downtown Little Rock. So even after the move from Center Street to Main Street, you've continued to expand at Threefold. First, I believe, came Haybird, a pop-up chicken-focused restaurant that I think was back in your space on Center Street.
It's a pop-up concept.
Yeah.
That's what I use that name. Actually, after this dumpling, noodle and dumpling business has been established, not done yet.
Right.
Of course, we still have room to grow, to improve. But another inside my mind, I also want to introduce the Asian taste, but in your American food.
Yes.
For example, Arkansas is a chicken country.
Oh, yes.
And I really thinking the capital of Arkansas, means Little Rock, should have a variety of a chicken shop. Mm-hmm. And, of course, we have a gas chicken.
Popeyes and all those things.
All the stuff. But they represent the southern flavor. And I'm thinking if I can do something to introduce the Asian flavor, but it's still in the format you are familiar about, fried chicken.
Right.
So not only fried chicken, or the way we cook, like a braised chicken instead of a grilled chicken. So that's something I want to do. But after we're down the Main Street, establish, kind of have a free hand and want to try. But I know the Main Street, that space is not a spot to do this type of food. So we just utilize a short leasing, 10 months leasing, to try this, bring this to life and see just a small portion of the menu and see how it works. And I think food-wise, people like it. At least give them another dimension of fried chicken.
Right.
And but in the future, if I have any chance, we'll probably do a chicken shop.
Yeah.
Before I go to graveyard.
Yeah. Explain how the fried chicken at Haybird was different than what you might get at Gus's, or is it a lighter batter or?
No, actually it's different batter, different type, and especially the seasoning is different.
Okay.
And fried chicken, most of the American style, people enjoy the batter, the fried part.
Right.
The coating. But we marinate. We spend tons of time and the ingredient to marinate the chicken. So the chicken, and then make the batter light or thinner.
Right.
So basically you enjoy more chicken than the crust.
Because you put a lot of the flavor into the chicken instead of just putting flavor into the crust.
Right.
Yeah.
And we also, the crust have a seasoning.
Right.
It's Asian flavor.
Now, Haybird is no longer, correct?
Now we that's what I keep it. So until I get time and to introduce it again with a bigger menu.
So you just did a short lease. You did it as a pop-up and then...
Right. And I learned how I should do.
Yeah, that's cool. So we're recording this episode in early July of 2021. And so we're about 16 months ago. Everybody had to close the restaurant in March. Did you all try to stay open with curbside pickup or delivery, or did you just close at Main Street?
We keep on open. I think we are probably few of 2 restaurants keep it open. And before we make decision, and I check all with my employee, I say, I can close the shop, close the business for a short time, and I terminated you guys so you can get a unemployment benefit. And all of them answer, we want work.
Okay,
we don't want to live on unemployment. I feel very inspired by this my young workers. So I said, then I just keep on losing money and I keep everybody. So we didn't lay off anybody, and we keep
You sold to-go food because you had to close your dining room for a while.
Right.
By law.
Right. At that time, our sales dramatically dropped 70%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no,
So it's very bad. And that forced me to come up with the food truck concept. So within 2 weeks, we decided to do another location to help this business. So take me 2 weeks to buy the truck, the trailer, and a brand new trailer to put all the refrigeration in. And I'm a little bit brag about myself. I'm so amazing that we can put all the menu into that.
Yeah, into a...
Yeah, only beef noodle soup we couldn't do. There.
Yeah, and so it's down in Riverdale, which for folks is 3 or 4 miles from downtown, and a really cool and a lot of restaurants down there too.
Yeah,
so y'all are on a lot down there, right?
Yeah, we own the lot.
Oh, you own the lot.
Yeah, that's what our next step before the pandemic. We are going to build another big operation there called Brand Haber there.
Yeah.
And the sake brewery. So we go through so long design, spend over 100,000 design.
Right.
And everything ready. And I almost put my name on the contract, start construction. And then it happened.
So it hopefully is coming down the road at some point.
No, I sold it.
Oh, you sold the lot?
I sold the lot because I don't see it's a about $5 million project, and after this pandemic, I know it would take us a couple of years to get the financial back, and I'm the person don't like the debt.
That much debt, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So we just to keep that community that can on construction side, I hate to do so. I say let's let somebody else. They have an idea, they have a money to build it.
Yeah.
So that's what we sold that. But we still have a contract with the buyer and stay there for a year. That means next spring.
Okay, so you're still operating the food truck down there.
Right.
Gotcha. But you've moved somewhat into Westle Rock. Do I know that you have a prep facility in a former restaurant on Pleasant Ridge? I mean, off Cantrell. I guess it's on Pleasant Valley Road. Mm-hmm. And that's just something. That's not open for business. That's a place that you all do work that then gets served at your 6th Street. Your Main Street restaurant.
Right. Actually, after we decided to sell the lots, the land at Repsman, and then we turn our direction to buy another facility, which is Pinnacle Valley Road. It's a restaurant. It's an existing restaurant. And we use, it's over 5,000 square feet.
Oh, wow, it's big.
Yeah. So we use actually 2/3 of them to do noodle shop, dumpling shop there to production there.
Okay.
And for the front, we haven't decided what to do. But my mind is to do something for the neighborhood, and like a convenience store, and make that neighborhood have a place to enjoy the very beautiful view.
Oh yeah,
down to the Pinnacle Mountain view. So we haven't decided that yet, but at the same time we take a Panera Place,
right,
the Pleasant Ridge Center, and I think what time we signed a contract.
There's an article in May of this year.
Yeah, in May.
That said that you were going to. So is that going to become a threefold?
Yeah, basically we develop a second location at the west.
Well, in the hottest, most great traffic flow along Cantrell Road there, and so many other great places in that center.
Yeah,
and
we hope we can do well there in that neighborhood. Yeah.
Do you have a time frame on that, or is it just?
Yeah, we start construction already.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, and I think 2 days ago we demolished everything, and we're waiting for the permit from the city, and the construction will be start soon.
Good.
We hope we can make something happen by the end of this year. But if not, nobody's certain on anything now. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but definitely the early next year.
Yeah. Is the food truck going to go somewhere else, or are you going to retire it, or do you know yet what you're going to do with the food truck?
Once we establish this Pleasant Ridge operation, then the food truck will be eased out.
Eased out, yeah. Well, you can always bring it back if you want to go mobile. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That May article that talked about your move into Panera also mentioned something about retail stores. Is that something you're...
That's what the Pinnacle Valley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you can come in and buy...
Right. I said the...
Oh, that's right. The convenience store concept.
Convenience store concept.
Okay.
Or some bakery.
Yeah.
So we leave that to next year.
I have to give you a lot of credit because, Main Street is... A lot of people would just hang their hat on that and go, I've done all I want to do, but you just keep going for it. I applaud that. That's great. Well, listen, Lisa, I really thank you for being my guest today on Heaping Spoonful. It's been a great talk. Keep amazing your dining guests with your cook-to-order Chinese delicacies that so many thousand have come to love, and I look forward to visiting you there, as I've done many times, and then going out to some point in the next number of months out to West Little Rock and trying your spot in the Pleasant Ridge Center. So I thank everybody for listening to Heaping Spoonful. We post new episodes on the first and third Tuesday of each month. So keep an ear and an eye out for them. Thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your day.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Heaping Spoonful. On behalf of all of us at Benny Keith Foods, Mid-South Division, please know how much we love connecting you with the legends of the culinary scene and their unique stories. I look forward to the next time we can offer you another Heaping Spoonful.